Hello, beautiful souls. I want you to take a deep breath with me right now. Just breathe in love and breathe out anything that feels heavy in your heart. I know you're here because you're hurting. I know you're here because someone you cared about deeply has pulled away, and you've been wondering if they'll ever come back. I know that ache in your chest, that feeling of being left behind, that confusion about what went wrong. First, let me tell you something important. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are not unworthy of love. What you're experiencing right now is part of the human journey of learning to love ourselves and others. Every relationship, every connection, every heartbreak is here to teach us something precious about who we truly are. When someone we love becomes distant or disappears from our lives, our minds can go to some very dark places. We might tell ourselves stories about not being good enough, about being too needy, about somehow driving them away. But I want you to know that these stories are not the truth of who you are. They are old wounds speaking, old fears that have been with us since childhood, trying to protect us in the only way they know how. The truth is that relationships are mirrors. Every person who comes into our life reflects back to us something about ourselves. Sometimes they reflect our beauty, our capacity for love, our joy. And sometimes they reflect our fears, our old hurts, our places where we still need healing. When someone pulls away from us, it's not a judgment on our worth. It's simply information about where both people are in their journey of learning to love. You might be feeling angry right now, and that's okay. Anger is just love with nowhere to go. You might be feeling sad, and that's natural too. Sadness is the heart's way of honoring what was meaningful to us. You might be feeling confused, trying to understand what happened, replaying conversations and moments, looking for clues. All of these feelings are welcome here. There's no need to judge yourself for feeling what you feel. What we're going to explore together today is not about getting someone back. It's not about tricks or strategies to manipulate another person's heart. Those approaches never work in the long run because they come from a place of lack, from a belief that we need someone else to complete us. Instead, we're going to talk about something much more powerful and much more healing. We're going to talk about how to love yourself so completely that you become magnetic to the right kind of love. We're going to explore why people who avoid intimacy sometimes return after we stop chasing them. And we're going to do it from a place of understanding and compassion, not from a place of trying to control outcomes. Because the most beautiful thing about learning to love yourself is that it changes everything. It changes how you feel in your body, how you move through the world, how you attract people and experiences into your life. I want you to know that you have the power to heal. You have the power to transform your relationship patterns. You have the power to break free from cycles that no longer serve you. And most importantly, you have the power to love yourself so deeply that you never again need to chase someone who doesn't see your value. So let's begin this journey together with open hearts and gentle spirits. Let's approach this topic not as victims of someone else's behavior, but as powerful creators of our own experience. Let's learn together how love really works, how energy flows between people, and how we can align ourselves with the highest and most loving possibilities for our lives. When we stop chasing someone and begin the journey of no contact, something profound happens in the invisible world of energy and connection. Most people think that no contact is simply about creating distance or playing hard to get, but there's something much deeper and more spiritual happening when we truly step back and focus on ourselves. Energy is always moving between people, especially people who have been intimate or close. When we're constantly reaching out, texting, calling, trying to fix or convince someone to love us, we're sending out an energy of neediness and desperation. This energy actually pushes people away because it comes from a place of lack rather than wholeness. It says, I am not complete without you. I need you to fill this empty space inside me. But when we step back and truly begin to work on ourselves, when we stop trying to control the other person and start focusing on our own healing, our energy begins to shift. Instead of sending out waves of need and anxiety, we begin to emanate something completely different. We begin to radiate self-love, peace, and wholeness. This shift is felt by everyone around us, but especially by people who have been close to us. Think of it like this. When you're constantly calling someone, your energy is like a loud, insistent knock on their door. It might get their attention, but it also makes them want to keep the door closed. But when you step back and start taking care of yourself, when you start filling your own cup with love and joy and purpose, your energy becomes like a warm, inviting light in the window. People are naturally drawn to that kind of energy because it feels safe and abundant rather than demanding and depleting. No contact, when done from a place of genuine self-love rather than manipulation, creates space for healing on both sides. When we're not constantly trying to convince someone to love us, they have room to miss us. When we're not flooding them with our anxiety and need, they can actually feel their own feelings about the relationship. This space is sacred. It's where real transformation happens. Many people misunderstand what creates attraction and connection between humans. We've been taught that we need to pursue, to convince, to prove our worth. But the truth is that the most magnetic energy comes from someone who is complete within themselves. When you're whole and happy and at peace with who you are, you don't need anyone else to validate you. And that freedom, that self-sufficiency, is incredibly attractive. During no contact, if you're truly using this time to heal and grow, you're not sitting around waiting for them to come back. You're not checking their social media every day or analyzing their every move. You're living your life. You're discovering parts of yourself that got lost in the relationship. You're healing old wounds that made you clingy or anxious or afraid. You're learning to be your own best friend, your own source of comfort and joy. This internal work changes your vibration. It changes the energy you put out into the world. And because we're all connected at an energetic level, these changes ripple out and affect everyone in your life, including the person who pulled away from you. They can sense, even without conscious awareness, that something has shifted in you. Where there used to be neediness, there's now strength. Where there used to be anxiety, there's now peace. Where there used to be desperation, there's now trust in life's unfolding. The beautiful thing about this energy shift is that it's not just about attracting that specific person back. When you truly love yourself, when you're truly at peace with who you are, you attract all kinds of wonderful people and experiences into your life. You become a magnet for healthy, loving relationships because you're no longer operating from wounds and fears. Silence has its own power. When we stop explaining ourselves, stop defending our worth, stop trying to convince someone to see our value, we create space for them to come to their own conclusions. People need room to miss us, to realize what they had, to feel the absence of our love in their lives. But this only works when we're genuinely not sitting around waiting for them. It only works when we're truly moving forward with our lives. People who tend to avoid emotional intimacy live in a world where love feels dangerous and overwhelming. For them, closeness triggers old wounds and fears that they may not even be consciously aware of. Understanding this pattern requires us to look with compassion at how some people learn to protect themselves from the very thing they actually long for the most. Avoidant behavior doesn't happen overnight. It develops early in life as a survival mechanism when a child learns that emotional needs are unwelcome, that expressing feelings leads to rejection or abandonment. or that the people who are supposed to love them are unreliable or overwhelming. These children learn to disconnect from their own emotional world and to be suspicious of other people's emotions as well. As adults, these patterns continue. People with avoidant tendencies often feel suffocated by too much closeness, even when part of them craves it deeply. They've learned to associate love with loss of freedom, with being controlled or consumed. So when someone loves them openly and wants more connection, their internal alarm system goes off, telling them they're in danger, even though logically they know they're safe. This is why the push-pull pattern happens so frequently in relationships with avoidant people. They get close because they truly do want love and connection, but as soon as they feel truly seen and loved, their old protective patterns kick in and they start creating distance. It's not personal, even though it feels incredibly personal to the person who loves them. It's an automatic response that was programmed long before they met you. When someone with this pattern suddenly finds themselves missing you during no contact, it's often because the absence of pressure allows their heart to open naturally. Without the sense of being pursued or controlled, they can drop their defenses enough to feel their own feelings. They might realize how much they enjoyed your laugh, how safe they felt in your arms, how much brighter their days were when you were part of them. But here's what's crucial to understand. Their return, if it happens, doesn't automatically mean they've healed their avoidant patterns. Often they come back because they miss what you brought to their life, but they may still carry the same fears and protective mechanisms that caused them to leave in the first place. This is why it's so important that you use the time apart to heal your own patterns, not just wait for them to come back. Many people who attract avoidant partners have their own wounds around love and worthiness. Perhaps you learned early in life that love was something you had to earn through being perfect or helpful or accommodating. Perhaps you learned that your needs were too much, that you had to shrink yourself to be lovable. Perhaps you learned that love was scarce and you had to hold on tight to anyone who showed you affection. These patterns create a dance between two wounded people. The avoidant person feels safe with someone who doesn't demand too much emotional intimacy, and the anxious person feels familiar with someone who is inconsistent and hard to reach. Both people are trying to heal old wounds through the relationship, but neither has learned to love themselves completely first. When the avoidant person does return after no contact, they're often drawn by the change they sense in you. If you've been doing real inner work, if you've been learning to soothe your own anxiety and meet your own emotional needs, you feel different to them. You're not the same person who is clinging or demanding or trying to fix them. You've become someone who is centered in their own worth, someone who can love without losing themselves. This is deeply attractive to someone who fears being consumed by another person's needs. They can feel that you're no longer trying to complete yourself through them, and that creates space for them to choose to be with you from a place of desire rather than obligation or guilt. They can sense that you've learned to be happy with or without them, and paradoxically, this makes them want to be part of your happiness. Sometimes people return not because they've grown or healed, but because they sense you've become stronger and they want to test whether their old power dynamics still work. This is why it's so important to have done genuine inner work during the separation. When you truly love yourself, you can sense the difference between someone who is returning from a place of growth and someone who is returning from a place of ego or old patterns. Healing these relationship patterns isn't about becoming someone different to attract them back. It's about becoming who you truly are beneath all the old wounds and fears. It's about learning that you are worthy of love exactly as you are, not because of what you do for others or how much you sacrifice or how perfectly you perform. When you know this in your bones, you naturally attract people who can see and appreciate your true value. The most beautiful thing about understanding avoidant patterns with compassion is that it frees you from taking their behavior personally. Their difficulty with intimacy is not a reflection of your worth. Their need for space is not evidence that you're too much. Their struggles with commitment are not proof that you're unlovable. These are simply their patterns, developed long before they met you, and they will continue until they choose to heal them. When you truly commit to healing yourself during a period of separation, something magical begins to unfold within you. The transformation that happens when you turn your attention inward is profound and beautiful, and it touches every area of your life. This isn't about becoming someone different to win someone back. This is about becoming who you were always meant to be beneath all the layers of conditioning and fear and old pain. In the beginning, focusing on yourself might feel selfish or scary. Many of us were taught that love means putting others first, that caring for ourselves is somehow wrong or indulgent. But true self-love is not selfish at all. It's the most generous thing you can do, because when you fill your own cup, you have so much more to offer the world. When you heal your own wounds, you stop unconsciously asking others to heal them for you. The first thing that begins to change when you focus inward is your relationship with your own emotions. Instead of being terrified of feeling sad or angry or lonely, you start to welcome these feelings as messengers. You begin to understand that emotions are just energy moving through your body, and that they always have something valuable to teach you. You learn to sit with discomfort without immediately reaching for someone else to make it better. This emotional mastery changes everything about how you show up in relationships. When you're not afraid of your own feelings, you stop being afraid of other people's feelings too. You can be present with someone's pain without trying to fix it. You can witness someone's anger without taking it personally. You can hold space for someone's confusion without needing to have all the answers. This kind of emotional stability is incredibly rare and precious, and people are naturally drawn to it. As you heal, you also begin to change your relationship with yourself. You start treating yourself with the same kindness and compassion you would offer a dear friend. You begin to speak to yourself more gently, to comfort yourself when you're hurting, to celebrate your small victories and progress. This internal shift creates a warmth and radiance that others can feel from across the room. Self-love also means setting healthy boundaries with yourself and others. You stop saying yes when you mean no. You stop sacrificing your own needs to keep peace. You stop accepting crumbs of affection when you deserve the whole meal. These boundaries aren't walls that keep love out. They're gates that let the right kind of love in while keeping harmful energy away. The shift from neediness to wholeness happens gradually, like a flower opening to the sun. One day you realize you haven't checked their social media in a week. Another day you notice you had a wonderful time with friends without once thinking about them. You start making plans for your future that don't include them. You rediscover hobbies and interests that got lost during the relationship. You remember who you were before you met them, and you start becoming an even better version of that person. This wholeness doesn't mean you stop wanting love or connection. It means you no longer need someone else to complete you because you've learned to complete yourself. You want love from a place of abundance rather than lack. You desire partnership from a place of strength rather than weakness. This shift in your internal state creates a completely different energy field around you. People can sense wholeness in others, even when they can't articulate what they're sensing. When you've done the work to become complete within yourself, you emanate a peace and confidence that is magnetic. You're no longer broadcasting need and anxiety into the world. Instead, you're radiating self-love and inner strength. This energy draws people to you because it feels safe and nourishing to be around. The healing journey also connects you more deeply to your intuition and inner wisdom. When you're not constantly anxious about someone else's behavior, you can hear the quiet voice within, that always knows what's best for you. You start trusting your instincts about people and situations. You begin to make decisions based on what feels right in your body, rather than what your fearful mind thinks you should do. This inner transformation ripples out into every area of your life. Your work becomes more fulfilling because you're no longer seeking validation from others. Your friendships deepen because you can show up authentically rather than people-pleasing. Your family relationships improve because you've learned to love yourself instead of looking to them to heal old childhood wounds. Everything gets better when you learn to be your own source of love and approval. The beauty of this healing process is that it continues long after any particular relationship ends or begins. Once you've tasted the freedom and joy of loving yourself completely, you never want to go back to the old patterns of depending on others for your happiness. You become someone who enhances relationships rather than needing them for survival. When someone does sense this transformation in you, when they feel the shift from who you used to be to who you've become, it often triggers something deep in their own heart. They remember what it felt like to be around you. But now there's something even more attractive about your energy. You've become someone who loves freely without attachment, who cares deeply without clinging, who offers your heart without losing yourself in the process. There's an invisible thread that connects all hearts, and when you heal your own heart, that healing energy travels along those threads to touch everyone you've ever loved. This is why people sometimes return after you've stopped trying to reach them. It's not magic or manipulation. It's the natural result of raising your vibration through genuine self-love and healing. When people do return after you've been on a healing journey, it's often because they can sense that you've found your center. There's an energetic pull that happens when someone becomes truly grounded in their own worth and power. It's like a lighthouse that guides ships safely to shore. Your inner light becomes visible to those who are ready to see it. The energy of someone who has found their center is unmistakable. They carry themselves differently. They speak differently. They relate to others from a place of choice rather than need. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, and it can't be faked or performed. It's the result of genuine inner work, of facing your shadows and healing your wounds, of learning to love yourself unconditionally. When you heal your own attachment wounds, when you learn to soothe your own anxiety and meet your own emotional needs, you no longer carry the desperate energy that pushes people away. Instead, you emanate a calm strength that draws people toward you. You become someone who can love without losing yourself, who can care without controlling, who can desire without demanding. This energetic shift affects everyone around you, but it particularly impacts people who have been close to you. They can feel the difference in your energy field, even from a distance. Where there used to be anxiety and neediness, there's now peace and wholeness. Where there used to be demands and expectations, there's now acceptance and freedom. This change in your energy often makes them curious about what's happened to you. People who tend to avoid intimacy are especially sensitive to changes in others' energy because they're always scanning for signs of emotional danger or pressure. When they sense that you've become genuinely okay without them, when they feel that you're no longer waiting or hoping or trying to pull them back, something in them relaxes. The pressure is off, and in that space of freedom, they can actually feel their own feelings about the relationship. But it's crucial to understand the difference between someone returning because they've genuinely grown and someone returning because they sense your strength and want to test whether their old power over you still exists. When someone returns from a place of authentic growth, they come back ready to meet you where you are now. They've done their own inner work. They've faced their fears about intimacy. They're ready for something real and honest and mature. When someone returns from ego or old patterns, they come back expecting to find the same person they left behind. They want to see if they can still push your buttons, if you'll still chase them, if you'll still accept breadcrumbs of affection. They're testing whether your transformation is real or just a temporary performance designed to get them back. The beautiful thing about having done genuine healing work is that you can immediately sense the difference. When you truly love yourself, you can feel the quality of energy someone brings to you. You can sense whether they're coming from their heart or their wounded ego. You can tell whether they've grown or whether they're still operating from the same fears and patterns that caused problems before. This discernment is one of the gifts of the healing journey. You develop an inner compass that guides you toward healthy connections and away from toxic ones. You learn to trust your gut feelings about people and situations. You become skilled at recognizing authentic love versus manipulation, genuine growth versus temporary behavior changes. Sometimes the return happens quickly, within weeks or months of the separation. Sometimes it takes years, and sometimes it never happens at all, but by then you've grown so much that it doesn't matter anymore. You've learned that your happiness and wholeness don't depend on any one person coming back into your life. You've discovered that love is abundant and that there are many people capable of seeing and appreciating who you truly are. The timing of these reconnections often feels divinely orchestrated. It's as if the universe waits until you've learned the lessons you needed to learn, until you've healed the wounds that needed healing, until you've become strong enough to handle the relationship from a place of wisdom rather than woundedness. This divine timing protects you from repeating old patterns and ensures that if someone does return, you're both ready for something healthier and more authentic. Understanding this larger pattern helps you trust the process of your own healing rather than trying to control outcomes. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, when you commit to healing your own heart and loving yourself completely, you align with the highest possibilities for your life. Whether that includes a specific person returning or not becomes secondary to the joy and fulfillment you've created from within. The most powerful thing you can do for your own healing is to develop a loving relationship with yourself, and there are specific practices that can help you cultivate this inner love and strength. These aren't temporary fixes or quick solutions, but rather gentle, consistent ways of showing yourself the care and attention you've been seeking from others. One of the most transformative practices you can begin today is mirror work. This involves looking into your own eyes in a mirror and speaking to yourself with love and kindness. Start small, because this might feel uncomfortable at first. Look at yourself and simply say, "I see you. I'm here for you." Notice what comes up when you do this. You might feel silly or sad or angry. These reactions are information about how you've been treating yourself internally. As you continue with mirror work, you can begin to offer yourself the words you've always wanted to hear. Look into your own eyes and say, "You are worthy of love. You are enough exactly as you are. I believe in you. I'm proud of how hard you're trying." At first, you might not believe these words, but say them anyway. Your subconscious mind is listening, and over time, these loving messages will begin to take root. Mirror work is particularly powerful for healing relationship wounds because it teaches you to give yourself the validation and approval you've been seeking from others. When you can look at yourself with love and acceptance, when you can be your own source of comfort and encouragement, you no longer need others to fill that role for you. This doesn't mean you won't want love from others, but you won't need it to survive. Another essential practice is journaling for emotional clarity and self-discovery. Writing is a way of emptying your mind and heart onto paper so you can see your thoughts and feelings more clearly. When you're processing the end of a relationship or trying to understand your patterns, writing can help you sort through the confusion and find your own truth. Try writing about your relationship patterns without judgment. What kinds of people do you typically attract? How do you behave when you're afraid of losing someone? What did you learn about love as a child? What are you really seeking in relationships? Be honest and gentle with yourself as you explore these questions. The goal isn't to judge yourself, but to understand yourself with compassion. You can also write letters that you'll never send. Write to the person who hurt you, expressing all your feelings without censoring yourself. Write to your younger self, offering comfort and wisdom. Write to your future self, describing the kind of love you want to experience. These letters help you process emotions and clarify your desires without needing anyone else to witness or validate your experience. Setting healthy boundaries is another crucial skill for healing your relationship patterns. Boundaries aren't walls that keep love out. They're loving limits that protect your energy and well-being. Start by noticing when you feel drained, resentful, or taken advantage of. These feelings are signals that a boundary has been crossed. Practice saying no to requests that don't feel right for you, even if you can't articulate exactly why. Your body knows when something isn't good for you, and learning to trust those instincts is part of loving yourself. Start small, with low-stakes situations, and work your way up to bigger boundary-setting challenges. Boundary work also means being clear about what you will and won't accept in relationships. Make a list of your non-negotiables, the behaviors you won't tolerate from others. This isn't about being rigid or demanding, but about knowing your own worth and protecting your peace. When you're clear about your boundaries, you naturally attract people who respect them. Your body holds a tremendous amount of wisdom about relationships and emotional healing. Often, anxiety about relationships shows up as tension in your chest, tightness in your throat, or butterflies in your stomach. Learning to work with these physical sensations can help you process emotions and release old patterns. Try placing your hand on your heart and breathing deeply whenever you feel anxious about relationships. This simple gesture activates your body's relaxation response and helps you feel more grounded and centered. You can also try progressive muscle relaxation, systematically tensing and releasing different muscle groups while focusing on letting go of relationship anxiety. Movement is another powerful tool for releasing emotional energy. Dance, walk, swim, stretch, or do any form of movement that feels good to you. As you move your body, set the intention to release old hurts and patterns that no longer serve you. Physical movement helps shift stuck energy and create space for new, healthier patterns to emerge. Meditation and mindfulness practices help you observe your thoughts and emotions without being overwhelmed by them. When you're missing someone or feeling anxious about a relationship, try sitting quietly and simply noticing what you're feeling without trying to change it. Breathe with your emotions instead of fighting against them. This practice teaches you that you can survive any feeling, which reduces your need to control other people or situations. Creating a daily practice of self-care is essential for maintaining the emotional strength and clarity you need for healthy relationships. This might include taking baths, reading inspiring books, spending time in nature, calling supportive friends, or engaging in creative activities that bring you joy. The key is to make self-care a non-negotiable part of your routine, not something you only do when you're in crisis. All of these practices work together to help you become your own best friend and most reliable source of love and comfort. When you can soothe your own anxiety, celebrate your own victories, and comfort yourself during difficult times, you no longer need others to play these roles for you. This emotional independence is incredibly attractive and creates the foundation for healthy, balanced relationships. The words we speak to ourselves and about ourselves have tremendous power to shape our reality. especially when it comes to relationships and love. Affirmations are not just positive thinking or wishful hoping. They are powerful tools for reprogramming the subconscious mind and aligning ourselves with the love we truly deserve. When you speak loving words to yourself consistently, you begin to believe them. And when you believe them, you naturally attract experiences that match your new beliefs. The most important affirmation you can ever learn is simply this: I am worthy of love exactly as I am. This statement might bring up resistance at first. Your mind might immediately start listing all the reasons why this isn't true, all the ways you're flawed or broken or not enough. But that's exactly why this affirmation is so necessary. Those resistant thoughts are old programming that needs to be gently replaced with truth. When you say, I am worthy of love, you're not trying to convince yourself of something false. You're remembering something that was always true but got covered over by hurt and conditioning. Every baby born into this world is worthy of love simply by existing. You didn't lose that worthiness because of mistakes you've made or ways you've been hurt. It's still there, waiting for you to claim it again. Another powerful affirmation for relationship healing is, I release the need to control others and trust in love's perfect timing. This statement helps you let go of the desperate energy that pushes people away and opens you to receive love in whatever form is highest and best for you. When you truly release control, you create space for miracles to happen. You allow love to flow naturally rather than trying to force it into the shape you think it should take. I choose to love myself so completely that I attract only healthy, loving relationships is an affirmation that helps you shift from being a victim of others' behavior to being a conscious creator of your relationship experiences. When you love yourself completely, you naturally set the standard for how others treat you. You no longer accept crumbs because you know you deserve the whole feast. You no longer stay in relationships that diminish you because you value yourself too much to settle. For those times when you're missing someone terribly, try this affirmation. I send love to this person and trust that whatever is meant to be will unfold in perfect timing. This statement helps you release attachment while still honoring the love you feel. It transforms your longing from desperate need into a blessing that you send out into the universe. When you can miss someone from a place of love rather than fear, everything changes. I am whole and complete within myself is perhaps one of the most transformative affirmations you can work with. Most relationship problems stem from the belief that we need someone else to complete us, that we're somehow insufficient on our own. But the truth is that you came into this world whole, and you remain whole regardless of your relationship status. When you know this deeply, you can share yourself with others from abundance rather than need. To work with affirmations effectively, choose one or two that resonate most strongly with you and repeat them daily, especially first thing in the morning and last thing at night. Say them while looking in the mirror if possible, because this adds the power of eye contact with yourself. Don't worry if you don't believe them immediately. Just keep saying them with as much love and conviction as you can muster. Your subconscious mind is always listening and will eventually accept these new beliefs. You can also write your affirmations in a journal, speak them during meditation, or record yourself saying them and listen back during quiet moments. The key is consistency and patience. It takes time to reprogram years of negative self-talk, but every loving word you speak to yourself is a step in the right direction. I forgive myself for past relationship mistakes and choose to learn and grow from every experience is essential for anyone carrying guilt or shame about how they've behaved in relationships. We all make mistakes when we're operating from wounds and fears. The important thing is not to punish yourself endlessly, but to learn from those experiences and make different choices going forward. Remember that affirmations work best when they're paired with action. If you're affirming that you're worthy of healthy love, also take steps to remove yourself from unhealthy situations. If you're affirming that you're whole and complete, also engage in activities that make you feel alive and fulfilled. Let your actions align with your words and watch as your external world begins to reflect your internal transformation. If someone does return to your life after a period of separation, having done your own healing work gives you the clarity and strength to navigate that reconnection wisely. Many people make the mistake of immediately falling back into old patterns when someone returns, forgetting all the growth they've achieved during the time apart. But you have the power to choose differently, to approach any reconnection from your new level of self-awareness and self-love. The first and most important thing to remember if someone returns is that you are no longer the same person they left behind. You've grown, healed, and learned to love yourself in new ways. Don't shrink yourself back down to fit into the old relationship dynamic. Honor the journey you've been on and the strength you've developed. Let them see who you've become rather than trying to resurrect who you used to be. Stay grounded in your center when they reach out. Notice what you feel in your body when you hear from them. Do you immediately feel anxious and start spinning stories about what their contact means? Do you feel your old patterns of people-pleasing and overgiving starting to activate? Or do you feel calm and curious, able to respond from a place of choice rather than reaction? Your body's response will tell you a lot about how much healing you've actually done. Take time before responding to any contact from them. You don't owe anyone an immediate response, no matter what your anxious mind might tell you. Sit with their message for a while. Notice what comes up for you. What are you hoping their contact means? What are you afraid it might mean? Are you ready to engage with this person from your new level of self-awareness, or are you still carrying wounds that might make you vulnerable to old patterns? When you do choose to respond, do so from authenticity rather than strategy. Don't play games or try to seem uninterested if you're actually happy to hear from them. But also don't overreact or immediately pour out all your feelings. Find the middle ground where you can be genuine while also maintaining your boundaries and self-respect. Pay attention to the quality of their communication. Are they taking responsibility for their part in whatever happened between you? Are they showing genuine interest in who you've become during your time apart? Are they willing to have honest conversations about what went wrong before and what would need to be different moving forward? Or are they trying to pick up where you left off without acknowledging the growth and healing that needs to happen? Be clear about your boundaries and non-negotiables from the beginning. If certain behaviors were unacceptable before, they're still unacceptable now, regardless of how much you've missed this person. Don't compromise your standards or ignore red flags because you're excited about their return. Your boundaries are expressions of self-love, and anyone who truly cares about you will respect them. Watch their actions over time rather than just listening to their words. People can say all the right things when they want something, but their consistent behavior over weeks and months will show you their true intentions. Are they showing up reliably? Are they doing the inner work necessary to change old patterns? Are they treating you with the respect and consideration you deserve? It's also important to stay connected to your own life and goals rather than immediately making them the center of your world again. Continue pursuing your interests, maintaining your friendships, and working toward your dreams. A healthy relationship should enhance your life, not consume it. If you find yourself dropping everything to focus on them, you may be falling back into old codependent patterns. Remember that reconciliation doesn't mean returning to exactly what you had before. If the old relationship dynamic didn't work, it's not going to work now unless both people have genuinely changed. Be open to creating something new together, something that honors who you've both become, rather than trying to recreate what used to be. Trust your intuition above all else. You have developed your inner wisdom through the healing work you've done, and that wisdom will guide you if you listen to it. If something feels off, it probably is. If you find yourself making excuses for their behavior or trying to convince yourself that this time will be different, pay attention to those red flags. Most importantly, remember that you don't need this person to come back for your life to be beautiful and complete. Their return should feel like a wonderful addition to an already fulfilling life, not like a rescue from loneliness or emptiness. When you know you'll be okay either way, you can make decisions about the relationship from love rather than fear, and that's when the healthiest choices emerge. Sometimes, despite all our healing work and all our hope, the person we love doesn't return to our life. This can feel like the deepest disappointment, especially after we've done so much inner work and grown so much as individuals. But even in this outcome, there are profound gifts and lessons that can transform your understanding of love and life itself. First, it's important to honor your grief when someone doesn't return. Even though you've been working on healing and self-love, it's natural to feel sad about the end of something that meant a great deal to you. Don't rush yourself through this sadness or try to spiritual bypass your way around it. Grief is love with nowhere to go, and it deserves to be felt and honored. Allow yourself to mourn not just the loss of this specific person, but also the loss of the future you imagined with them. It's okay to cry for the dreams that won't be fulfilled, the experiences you won't share, the life you thought you might build together. This mourning is part of releasing attachments and making peace with reality as it is rather than as you wished it would be. But as you grieve, also celebrate how much you've grown through this experience. The person who started this healing journey is not the same person who is reading these words now. You've learned to love yourself in ways you never knew were possible. You've developed emotional skills and inner strength that will serve you for the rest of your life. You've broken old patterns that were keeping you stuck in unhealthy relationship cycles. Sometimes the greatest gift a person can give us is showing us that we can survive without them. When someone doesn't return, we're forced to discover our own resilience, our own capacity for joy, our own ability to create a meaningful life. These discoveries are invaluable and often couldn't have happened any other way. Consider that perhaps this person's role in your life was to be a catalyst for your growth rather than a permanent partner. Some people come into our lives to awaken us, to challenge us, to help us heal old wounds, and then they move on. Their departure doesn't diminish the value of what you shared or the growth that resulted from your connection. There's also wisdom in recognizing that not every love is meant to become a lifelong relationship. Some loves are meant to teach us about our own capacity for feeling. Some are meant to show us what we truly desire in partnership. Some are meant to help us heal parts of ourselves that we couldn't reach on our own. All of these purposes are valuable, even if they don't result in happily ever after. Finding closure within yourself rather than needing it from the other person is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. You don't need someone else's explanation or apology or acknowledgement to heal and move forward. You can create your own closure by making meaning from the experience, by honoring what was beautiful about your connection, and by blessing them even as you let them go. Writing a letter that you'll never send can be incredibly healing for creating internal closure. Pour out everything you want to say to them, all your love and hurt and gratitude and anger. Express it all without censoring yourself, and then release it in whatever way feels right to you. Some people burn the letter, some bury it, some keep it as a reminder of their journey. The important thing is that you've given voice to your feelings without needing the other person to receive or respond to them. Practice sending love and blessings to this person, even though they didn't choose to be with you. This doesn't mean you have to approve of how they treated you or pretend you weren't hurt. It means you're choosing to release resentment and anger because carrying those feelings hurts you more than it hurts them. When you can genuinely wish someone well, even after they've disappointed you, you know you've found true freedom. Trust that love is abundant and that there are many people in this world capable of loving and appreciating who you are. The end of one relationship, no matter how significant, doesn't mean you're destined to be alone. In fact, the healing work you've done makes you more attractive to healthy, emotionally available people. You've raised your vibration and learned to love yourself, which naturally draws higher quality relationships into your life. Sometimes the universe's timing is different from our timing, and what feels like rejection is actually redirection towards something better. Trust that if this person isn't choosing to be with you, it's because you're being guided towards someone who will cherish and value you completely. Have faith that love is always trying to find you, even when it doesn't look the way you expected it to. The most beautiful thing about learning to find peace when someone doesn't return is that it proves to you that your happiness and wholeness don't depend on any one person. You've learned that you can love deeply and still be okay when that love isn't reciprocated. This knowledge makes you fearless in love, able to open your heart fully without the terror of losing yourself in the process. My dear ones, we've taken quite a journey together through the landscape of love, loss, and healing. As we come to the end of our time together, I want you to know how proud I am of your willingness to look at these painful patterns with courage and compassion. It takes tremendous strength to examine our wounds and choose healing over staying stuck in familiar pain. The most important thing I want you to remember from everything we've shared is this: you are not broken. You are not too much. You are not destined to repeat painful relationship patterns for the rest of your life. You are a beautiful, worthy soul who is capable of both giving and receiving tremendous love. Any relationship that doesn't honor this truth is simply not meant for you. Whether someone returns to your life or not is ultimately not the most important question. The most important question is whether you've learned to come home to yourself, to love yourself so completely that you never again abandon yourself for someone else's approval or affection. When you can answer yes to that question, everything else becomes secondary. The healing work you've done changes you at a cellular level. It rewrites the stories you tell yourself about your worth. It transforms your energy and your capacity for joy. It makes you magnetic to the right kind of love while naturally repelling relationships that would diminish you. This transformation is not temporary or superficial. It's a fundamental shift in how you move through the world. Trust the process of your own unfolding. Trust that every experience, even the painful ones, has been serving your highest good. Trust that love is always trying to reach you, even when it doesn't look the way you expected. Trust that you are being guided toward relationships that will celebrate and cherish the beautiful person you've become. As you move forward from here, carry with you the knowledge that you are your own best friend, your own source of comfort, your own greatest love. When you know this in your bones, when you live from this truth, you become a beacon of light that draws wonderful people and experiences into your life. You become someone who can love freely without losing yourself, who can care deeply without controlling outcomes. Remember to be patient with yourself as you continue to grow and heal. Change doesn't happen overnight, and old patterns sometimes resurface when we're stressed or tired. When this happens, don't judge yourself. Simply return to the practices that serve you, speak to yourself with kindness, and remember how far you've already come. The love you seek is seeking you too. But first, It needed you to become someone who could recognize it when it arrives, someone who could receive it without fear, someone who could return it from a place of wholeness rather than wound. All the work you've done has been preparing you for this love, whether it comes in the form of someone returning or someone entirely new. I leave you with this final affirmation to carry in your heart. I am love, I am loved, and I am lovable exactly as I am. I trust in love's perfect timing and open my heart to all the beautiful possibilities that await me. Speak these words to yourself often, believe them deeply, and watch as your life transforms in ways more wonderful than you can imagine. The universe is conspiring in your favor, dear one. Love is on its way to you in forms that will astound and delight you. Until then, be your own beloved, be your own best friend, be your own source of joy and comfort. You are enough. You have always been enough, and you will always be enough. Let this truth guide you home to yourself, and from there, let it guide you to the love that's been waiting for you all along.